All right. Good morning. Well, is it morning? No, it's afternoon. Good afternoon, folks, and welcome to another installment of Freedom's Journal. Well, what we are going to be talking about today is putting on my background music. So, um, yeah, so struggle on swole. And why is struggle on swole? Because good God, man, Tyler Perry. You just have to, some things you just have to see to believe, right? It's just like, these are all scenes, right? These stills are from a single trailer. I mean, bro, if hey, Secret My Creator, what's up? If you were trying to portray black women as struggling, then I mean, you got it, man. And there's been some pushback to this portrayal, and yeah, let's talk about it. Yeah, I'm telling you, Anubis, the struggle is on swole. She doesn't have regular struggle. This is struggle on swole. She got Debo struggle, you know, it's Godzilla struggle. Just on her back, don't know what to do. I mean, it's crazy. And it's which leads me to my second question is, can black culture be victorious? Right, that's the subtext. Can it be victorious? And just to ask the question is to acknowledge that a lot of it is not victorious, right? It's built on struggle, it's built on oppression. Like, how do you be black and victorious? Right? There's like this oppression tick that I'm kind of gonna get into and talk about. But first of all, quick hits, man. Let's see. Oh yeah, this one. Okay. Hey, so for the potential like wignets in the audience, man. How about a new? Yeah, I agree. Not playing the race card, the victim card, and all that other stuff. I agree. Shaka. So yeah, so for the the wignets in the audience, it's like, hey, maybe there is a better patron saint than Uncle H, right? Because this is a Polish prime minister, right? These are LGBT displays, and he's just like, nah, we're not having it. We're taking it all down, right? Why not be with someone who was like victorious or came out of the 20th century a little bit better than Uncle H, right? Losing two world wars back to back. Come on. The guys, they threw off communism, right? Not only did they throw off communism, now they're distinctly against the Soros agenda for their country, right? They're not being overrun by diversity. Look at the cop. He's like, why are you doing this? The exasperation, right? Like a boss. That's what I'm talking about, right? You got the wrong mascots, Wignets. Wrong mascots. There we go. So there's that. And now here's just another thing for men, right? So my thing is, look, I am a male advocate. That's what I'm doing here. Right? That's a lot of my content. So what so Coach Greg Adams comes up with a point, right? We went from promoting healthy and fertile 22-year-old women to hormoned up 50-year-old women in less than 5 years. Um Actually, you know what? Hold on. I'll be right back. All right. So now what's the thing here, right? How do we go from promoting fertile 22-year-old women to hormoned up 50-year-old women and big women for that matter? Where is it? Yeah, like, what is this, man? This chick is ginormous, right? How did that happen? Well, it's capitalism, right? If there is a fault in capitalism, it is that it is amoral, right? People can be moral, but the flow of capital is not. So there is a large cohort of older single women, right? And they have money. And this is why you see the culture tilting that way, right? It's just going to happen. You don't have to make it happen. You have to do any of that. That is what is going to happen. So part of the, I think, failed strategy for men is simply withdrawal, right? If you withdraw, that's not a position of power. That's just not, right? Because women are going to legislate their prerogatives and their biology, and their biology says take resources from men. So now you have, the wave of men getting sued by girlfriends for spousal support, right? That is not going to stay with men who are just rich. That is going to filter down, right? If all you do is withdraw. Now, the good news is if you want it to serve you, what you need to do is make money. That's it. That's all you got to do. All right. All you got to do is make money. So younger men need to go out and jeez, man. Sorry. All younger men got to do is go out and earn money. That's really it. Right? If men are out there earning money, capitalism will find a way to cater to them to try to get a piece of it. That is it. Because that is the only reason that this is happening here. Right? That's it. And yes, competition is the solution. I've said many times that if you want women to act like women again, treat them like men. And they will beg to be women again. All those feminists in World War III memes that shows, a woman in the kitchen, putting something in the oven, right? Just treat them like men, right? If there's a construction site and there are some women on it, well, she's going to be picking up that 50-pound bag of concrete to mix just like everybody else. So, yeah, that's what you got to do. So, I don't know why I don't know. I don't watch really red pill content, but if they are missing that angle, then that is a shame, because that is the quickest solution. Mike, who's that guy? Mike Rowe has been proselytizing dirty jobs for 20 years for nothing. There's plenty out there. Matter of fact, where is this? I just saw this. It is about the need for data centers and the need for power. Like, we are very much down on power production, and we need it. And who is that going to empower? Men, because men are going to have to get out there and build it. They're going to have to build those data centers so that we can then win at AI and win at everything else. I mean, it's a key component of infrastructure. And just like, take this here. Hey, bro, look, we need a program. We need a program that is, for all these YNs getting in trouble, it's life in jail or a construction job site. That's what you get. I mean, yeah, do it. So, yeah, true that. So, yes, we need the data centers. We do, absolutely do. And darn it, where was it, man? It was, oh, that's who it was. It was Sean Ryan. That's who it was. Sean Ryan was talking to a guy about AI. Ah, here it is. Here we are. Oh, you can't hear the video? Darn it. Can y'all not hear the video? Thought I was sharing correctly. Hold on. Let me present it back. Let me share again. Hold on. Present. Oh, yeah. It looks like I had the audio. Yeah, you should have audio. But yeah, that's where I wanted to get to, right? The part about being ahead on power generation. The current projection for data center power is more than we generate right now. So we're talking a 50-state nationwide push to increase our electrical production, our energy production. So we're going to need to streamline everything around power generation. That means got to get a lot of these regulations out of the way so we can actually build some more nuke plants so we can get some cheap electrons doing what we got to do. Right? So there's that. And that is part of why this is happening. We don't have enough men out there earning money, right? We need the male participation labor rate to go up, period, among everybody. It's got to go up. So there's that. Now, what I want to get to next. Let me skip that. Are men broken? Okay. Now, this, I had this thought. Where was it? About Jordan. Here, let me play this. Dang it. How is there's still no sound? Can you hear me?
If you take a rat pup away from its mother, it dies. Even if you feed it, even if you keep it warm, it dies. Now you can stop it from dying by taking a pencil with an eraser on the end and massaging it, right? Because rats won't live without love. He noticed that male rats, juveniles, really like to wrestle. And they wrestle just like humans.
What about now? Okay.
Humans wrestle. They pin each other for crying out loud. It's like that rat has just lost. He's down for a 10 count, right? And so what you do is you take juvenile rats and you can find out that they want to play. You can attach a spring to them. And then they'll try to run, and you can measure how hard they're running by how hard they're pulling on the spring, and then you can estimate how motivated they are. And so you can find out that a nice, well-fed rat who doesn't have anything on his mind will still work hard to play, to enter an arena where he's been allowed to play before. He'll work for that, so that you think, well, the rat's motivated. So the two rats go out there and they play. You let the little rats go out there, right? And so let's imagine one of them is 10% bigger than the other. And so the 10% bigger rat wins, because 10% is enough in rat weight to ensure that you're going to be the pinner rather than the pinnee. So that's fine. So the big rat pins the little rat, and now the big rat is the authority rat. The next time that the rats play, the little rat has to invite the big rat to play. So the big rat's out there being cool, and the little rat pops up and does the whole "will you play with me" thing, and the big rat will deign to play with him. But if you pair them repeatedly, unless the big rat lets the little rat win 30% of the time, the little rat will not invite him to play. And Panksepp discovered that. But the notion that was built into rats at the level of wrestling was, and they're social, they're deeply social animals, right? They have to know how to get along with one another. And most of their authority disputes, dominance disputes, you don't want them to end in bloodshed and combat. Panksepp figured out that rats play, and not only that they play fair, and they seem to enjoy it. He also
men in the DFW area, y'all. I am hosting a singles mixer next Saturday at 8 p.m. in Richardson. You can get the info from the link in my bio. Y'all, we're having another singles mixer. So last month's single mixer was so good, it was the bomb. But I need some single men to come on out. Now, we ain't doing no love connection now. If the Lord allow you to meet somebody, hey, by all means.
Begging.
Create the environment for singles to help them get into community, to meet other people with the same relationship status as them, to get in community, make friends, find your folks, and just create the space and help y'all understand that the single life is not a death sentence or a life sentence. And if
That's what it is.
I'm looking for a bunch of single men. I have plenty of women RSVP for next Saturday.
Of course, we know you have plenty of women there. Why don't you just address why there isn't any men? Just address it. Just say honestly.
Come on out. It is
Come on.
Again, so it is at a pub. There's going to be games playing everywhere. They have karaoke. They have drink specials if that is your jam. But they also have food. So come out, come hang out with us. We line danced last time and just had a good time. I'm going to include
with a bunch of Keishas, so line dancing, doing a bus stop, doing the electric slide, doing the WAP. Look, one guy there, one guy. Look, what, two guys. And this this Becky. You see the one Becky? What am I doing? Okay. There's a couple of guys. Look. big back Becky.
Look, bro, this is funny to me because I've been there, right? I've been here. And look, when I was going before I met my wife, right, it was maybe twice as many guys. But twice as many guys still means it's like 2-to-1, 3-to-1, 4-to-1 ratio, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, and this was in 2017, 2016. That's almost 10 years ago. And like nothing has changed. It's just less and less men showing up, right? Okay. So got the pattern, less and less men showing up. What's going on? Right? Which is wild. Like it's just less and less and less men.
DJ Short Bus Brad.
Dude, it's like wild. Okay, so I'm doing all this to introduce this thought, like, right? The rats, right, in order to be invested enough to play, they have to win 30% of the time. Right? And then they both get to play, right? The larger rat gets to play, the smaller rat gets to play, they form their bonds, they have their community, et cetera, right? The rat has to win. What if there is so much hypergamy, it just broke men. Right now, women are seeing the apathy, and it's concerning them. Right, because like the whole bear saga. Oh, would be a bear. I'll take the bear over the man because the bear is safer. Or, why aren't men showing up to dating things? Why aren't men protecting women? Blah, blah, blah. Because it used to be, 99% of men are protecting women from like 1% of men, right? Now, it's like 90% of men are protecting women from 1% of men, and they're noticing the apathy, right? What if men simply aren't getting, as a group, aren't getting enough stimuli from women to care? They just don't care anymore, right? They're not getting the requisite stimuli, even in puberty. Even now, the hypergamy has reached down into high school. So you are looking at, I'm 50, so, getting, interacting with girls, whatever, that whole mating dance to me was normal, what we would think of as normal. But today, only the very few guys at the top are getting that stimuli with women. The other guys are ignored. Like even the right now they're talking about like how athletes aren't cool anymore, right? Athletes aren't cool anymore, right? Athleticism now isn't, I'm just some dude who's balling out and I'm gonna get to, the NCAA and get to league and yada yada. Nah, it is professional. It is rigorous. These guys aren't the stereotypical jock. A lot of that doesn't exist. Those guys aren't getting to the league. The guys who are getting to the league are the guys who are focused from like 8th grade. So you're just a nerd in sports, right? So what if hypergamy has broken men? And when I say that now you have permanently altered men's behavior towards women based on stimuli received when they were in puberty. And you've even altered it from how they are experiencing women in their adult lives, right? Nuclear injection wasn't a thing, right? Hypergamy to this scale was not a thing. So now women are like, hey, what's wrong with men? Nothing, right? They are acting based on their stimuli. And to loop in what I said before, if men want to change that, they simply need to start making money and make women's biology work for them, right? If you want culture to get rid of all these, stop hag maxing basically, and trying to romanticize 50-year-old single women as having some sort of awesome life, then men need to start making money, right? Start buying assets, right? Increase the level of labor participation rate among men and start going out and getting houses. Go out and get one of these houses in the hood and fix it up and live there with all your buddies who are doing the same thing. Then all y'all get a house. So yeah, just a thought. What if that is what happened? So now the way they interact with women has permanently changed. So anywho, and they have another quick hitter. Here we are. Okay.
It's generally, so I was at a family office conference, and if y'all don't know what a family office is, it's generally a family that has accumulated some wealth, generally more than $50 to $100 million, and they manage everything themselves. Okay, so we're at this conference, and the guy, he says to me, he's actually an Indian guy, and so he says, Indian people, we got a couple things. We got motels, corner stores, like gas station type deals. Vietnamese people have nail shops. Cambodian people in California have donut shops. And he's just like running down the list. Indian tribes got casinos. And then he looked at me, he said, black people got? And I was like, and then I posed the question to Instagram and Twitter, and I got some reasonable answers back, which was like, oh, we got barbecue, we got this, we like businesses that we do historically in the Black community. But the differentiator is we are not in the each one teach one, fund and mobilize each other.
Okay, here's where I think she's wrong, right? Dude, throughout my adult life, man, they keep comparing black people to immigrants, right? And this immigrant pipeline, that's over. That never happened for black people, right? You're not going to get anywhere, one, before you start getting married, right? And two, you're not immigrants. That's not happening, right? Black people don't have one thing because black people had everything, a complete parallel society, right? And when that broke down, right, the Marxist reformation of civil rights and the family broke down, it all crumbled. So the way back isn't an immigrant pipeline into a specific business, right? The way back is families, period. It's not an A, it's not option B, not option C, not option D. Families, period. Period, point blank. And so here is, I thought I had this video up. That is the path back. Let me find this video. Dang, where'd it go? There it is.
I grew up in South Philadelphia. We didn't realize it was segregated. All we knew is that our neighborhood was all black, and we weren't even that conscious of color because the people who owned the store down the street were black, the tailor, the restaurant owners, the undertaker, everybody in the neighborhood, and it was a very small street, everybody worked, blue collar, essentially, very close-knit neighborhood. Everyone had over 4 children.
See, families and all phases of businesses, right? This whole and the other thing, trying to characterize black as this enormous struggle, right? Since Reconstruction. Nah, man. Right after Reconstruction, you had medical schools, you had dental schools, right? You had black people with law degrees. I mean, a parallel society.
Played in the streets together. On Saturday morning, our parents came out and the hucksters came around and our parents purchased things. We had to go buy ice because there were no refrigerators then. We had a coal stove, so the younger kids were responsible for putting wood and coal into the stove and keeping it going. And the level of interest in education was just profound. I mean, even to this
Hello.
day, I don't think I've ever had such a positive educational experience than I did in my first 6 years, because school was an integral part of the community. We had a black superintendent, a black principal, all the teachers were black. Many of them didn't live in the neighborhood either.
Yep, you hear that?
Contrary, school was an integral part of the community. We had a black superintendent, black principal, all the teachers were black. Many of them didn't live in the neighborhood either. Contrary to popular belief, they were middle-income people who lived elsewhere. But their hearts
Is that class structure that he's describing?
and their souls were into those kids. I remember that 3rd grade and 4th grade plays were always conducted in the evenings so that parents could attend. And an auditorium that
So that who could attend?
conducted in the evenings so that parents could attend. And an auditorium that seated maybe 400, 500 people with standing room only for a 3rd and 4th grade play. Up until 1959, 78% of all black families had a man and a woman in them. That's a fact. Teen pregnancy was looked down upon. Sexual activity among kids, everyone bragged about it, no one did it. And but if someone became pregnant, if there was an aunt in the South, they would go there, so that the moral standards and ethical standards for people living in those communities was extremely high. It had little to do with your income. Many of us were poor without realizing that we were poor. During the war years, I thought everyone had one pair of shoes. Today, I have a lot of shoes because of those early experiences. You know, you put cardboard.
Huh. You know, I often hear the excuse of poverty being a source of crime, right? When you actually get down and point out the poverty stats among blacks, I hear that as an excuse. Somehow there were a lot of poor black people at this time and a lot less violence.
In your shoes when your soles were worn out. You never went to your mother and said, Mom, my shoes need to be replaced or fixed. You just knew that the money wasn't there for that. So you got the thickest piece of cardboard you can find and put it in your shoes. And if it didn't rain, you could last for 2 days.
You took it upon yourself as a kid to fix your shoes. Huh. It's crazy.
The discipline was in the community. I mean, you didn't speak back to an adult. The thought of an elderly person being disrespected was just unheard of. And teachers were never disrespected.
See, and here's one thing, man. When I hear, this talk of quote unquote community, especially, when Black women talk about community, they are not talking about fathers and wives, right? The frame in Black culture is just, they can talk about fatherlessness, but not wifelessness, right? There is no emphasis on family. They use it's almost like a key word, just community, i.e., I need access to resources and a culture that acts as if everyone's married, but not actually getting married.
And if you misbehave, you would be spanked by a neighbor. And your mother got home or father got home, you were spanked there. And God forbid a teacher should ever have to send for your parents. And they had to take off work. That was it. And so it imposed a kind of discipline. And again, it was a discipline that had little to do with how much money you made. There was a sense of comfort, a sense of well-being, a sense of oneness between the school and the community. The early days, civil rights was
family, because there were families.
Not an issue. The black colleges gave kids like me, a high school dropout, who dropped out with 3 months after my 17th birthday, and then went into the military and got introduced to learning there, got on flying status, went to a really nice military school, learned airborne electronics, did some flying with the military, and then finished my high school education there, and was told that I could enter any college in the country because of my scores. But I lacked the kind of confidence. But the black colleges, my college, Cheney State College, I think reached out to me. It was a warm environment. It was almost a continuation of the kind of warm and accepting environment I experienced in the black schools in my native Philadelphia and my old neighborhood. Cheney was a continuation of that kind of loving experience, but it was tough. I remember I entered with 13 other veterans, and we were given some priority in admissions because it was thought that we were mature. Our grades weren't that great, and so we were placed on academic probation, but over half of us made the dean's list at the end of the first year from academic probation.
Okay, now let's juxtapose this against what's going on today.
A teacher, thank God. I can finally say the things that have been on my mind all school year. Okay? As somebody that taught high school and basically educating our new young adults, we should all be scared. Every last one of us should be scared. These kids cannot read, they cannot write. There is no type of comprehension skills, no type of critical thinking. They cannot do anything on their own. They expect everything to be taught to them. Well, I won't even say taught. They expect everything to be given to them. So, in my class, we did this thing where I made them write once a week. So, they would have some type of assignment where they would have to write at least a paragraph, meaning 5 sentences. 5 sentences. The amount of assignments that I got in with 1 sentence, 2 sentences, the amount of complaints I got where with the whole 5 sentences, that's too much, that's too much. Can we do 3? Can we do 3? Isn't 3 considered a paragraph? Oh, baby. We are in for a wild ride, y'all. Every assignment that I gave them, I kid y'all not, every assignment that I gave them, there was a student that came to, several students that came to my desk and asked me to walk them through the entire assignment, the full, whole thing. But genuinely, the truth of the matter is everybody is failing these kids. Everybody. The school board with all these different rules, they're failing these kids. The principals or admin altogether, they're failing these kids, and they're failing the teachers because they're basically telling us that we had to just pass a child along just to keep these graduation numbers up. So everybody, like everybody. Oh, and don't get me started on the parents. Like, I would call and say, hey, your child is failing. And the first thing is, well, why didn't I know about this? Probably because you didn't answer the phone. Probably because you didn't respond to my emails. On top of that, you have 24-hour access to Power School. When I tell y'all it is horrible, like, the parents that are here now are not the parents that we had growing up. My parents checked my Power School weekly. And still to this day, my brother just graduated high school a few weeks ago, and still to this day, his grades were checked. Everybody's grades were checked. So, unfortunately, it's not these kids' faults. I mean, yeah, they're lazy, but like, what are you supposed to do when all you got to do is tell your mama, well, she failing me, and the school board is going to accommodate that parent? Like, it's crazy, y'all. We should be very scared for our new nurses, our new doctors, our new everybody. These colleges are going to have to start lowering their requirements. They're going to have to start lowering the fact, or just lowering everything, because the way that stuff is going now, the amount of kids that are going to come into these schools and they cannot read, they cannot write, they cannot do anything without AI. We should be scared. We should really be scared. Have a great day.
Okay, so what happened? What happened? Maybe it's the families, right? She mentioned the parents. I mean, we know what it is, right? We know what it is. It's the baby mama culture, just the self bigotry of low expectations, right? And here's the thing. What prompted the question is originally the question was, is black culture for losers? Because when confronted with this information, it's like a oppression tick. Well, what about the funding? Well, what about this? Well, what about that? It is this eternal look at an external source, right? It's the externality of a reason for what we all can plainly see. So, so that's the thing. And all right, and so I have another video that I want to react to. Let me cue that up. But it's crazy to me. Oh, here we go. So what is maybe fueling this?
No more with the hoes, you know what I'm saying, with the money and shit. They don't respect that no more. They respect who got the most hats, who got the most souls, you know what I'm saying, who killed the most people.
This ain't no safe shit.
Nah,
This ain't no safe shit. You safe because you with us, though. I got a bunch of motherfuckers who ain't gonna let nothing happen to you.
I appreciate that.
Let's make some things.
Nobody want to be the cool no more with the hoes, you know what I'm saying, with the money and shit. They don't respect that no more. They respect who got the most hats, who got the most souls, you know what I'm saying, who killed the most people.
This ain't no safe shit.
Nah,
This ain't no safe shit. You safe because you with us, though. I got a bunch of motherfuckers who ain't gonna let nothing happen to you.
I appreciate that.
Let's make some things.
Nobody want to be the cool.
I don't know, man. What's going on?
If they wanted to call a truce, it'd be on some stuff like.
And do you think that's possible?
It'll never be possible. It couldn't be. You know what I'm saying? Cause too much blood and shit.
So let me tell you something. Once blood gets shed, bro,
It's over.
Ain't no coming back.
Over. It's never no coming back.
Ain't no
from blood
coming
getting
back from that. You kill my dog, I can't walk up to you and be like, what up, bitch? It's good, don't worry about it. No, ain't no coming back from that. Spade for spade, eye for eye,
Oh,
tag
God.
for toe. That's how that go. Ain't no coming back from it.
The word of God say vengeance belongs to the Lord. I knew this, but I ain't cared at the time. I wanted to go take vengeance into my own hands, you feel me? We be just blind, we be feeling played, really. Cause we be feeling played in the streets a lot.
I just hate the way he died. I just felt God gave us, like, we born with expired date. And he gave him to me for 18 years, he just took his child back. And he always told me how much he appreciated me, how I sacrificed things for him. They took some apart from me that I had to learn how to live without my son. I just say, God, I'm just gonna keep praying and just be served for him. I'm just gonna keep praying that they catch him. So that morning when I got woke up by the police, my youngest son came and woke me up and told me that the police was at the door. So I'm like, Lord, what? Keandre and
Yeah, man, this only goes one way, right? Only goes one way. So, so let's see. Here we go. Cam Newton. Madcap. So, I was maligned recently by the good Sub-Zero for hating black women. You hate black women. So, I am going to, I guess, expand on that. All right. I mean, if you're going to say that, I might as well give you a good reason why. You know what I mean? So, give you a real good reason why. So, let's play this.
Predominantly
What?
white. One, they go home at 5 and 6 o'clock when they're producing because they go home to their families. Being a country singer, if you are a singer in country music, you're a man. If you are not married, it is not respected. Family is respected in country music in that space. But in our space, we are singing about side chicks. We are glorifying a lot of women. That's not what happens in Nashville. You can't call a woman a bitch, a hoe in Nashville because they'll never even listen to your music and your professional career will suffer. At what point in the black...
Who will listen to your music in the black community if you don't say those things? It's not.
Black community, do our men create
And here it comes.
real homes? And even talking, just our first time talking, and you said you didn't even mean for that to happen. Life happens. I'm not here to judge life. I'm looking at a successful black man that has the ability to literally turn the narrative on black family, And my grandfather, I watched my uncles and everything. My whole family, they're married. I'm not the girl who didn't see what a man creating a black family is supposed to be. So I'm asking right now, black men, I got to my black men to really step up for black women.
Shut that. What the fuck? You know what? Here. Hold on. I'm gonna. Dang, where is that photo? I thought I had a cue. Hold on, man. Daggone it. Ah, here it is. The problem is she's talking to these guys. Right? The problem is she is talking to, here is your community right here. All up under mama. All up under mama. That's the problem. We created, no, there is a thing called choice. Right? There is a thing called choice. And these are the guys you're talking to. Now, to explain this, I kind of like set out, where is it? Set out a little infographic that some people tend to like. But what, oh, there's another thing. I said, hey, if you Thanos snapped, all black men into Heathcliff Huxtable, they would abandon black women in mass. You like, you hate black, what? That is true. Right? Negro, man, Heathcliff Huxtable ain't coming for K. Michelle, bro. He's not. I'm not. Fake boobs, right? All exposed, tattooed, cake makeup, wigged, eyelashed, and nailed up. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. You can't get around. You can't get around choice, right? And you can't get around the fact that men with agency are leaving. And then here's the thing. What happened was Sub-Zero was on one about, a survey, right? He said, oh, there's a survey that says black women are more interested in marriage than black men. I'm like, well, how does that account for 650,000 more married black men than black women? Oh, you hate black women. What? What are you talking about? Right? The evidence, the data suggests that black men are intermarrying at a higher and higher frequency. And that, you keep this up, there's going to be an ocean of black women out there with nobody. Somebody needs to tell them to be a better product. You understand? Somebody has to tell them to be a better product. Somebody has to tell these men to stop being simps. Somebody, but you can't get there if once immediately exposed to the information, you shoot the messenger. These men got to stop being weak, and this woman has to be a better product. I mean, as a married black man who's, this is a hard no. Hard no. Super hard no.
And create families.
Listen, what is happening is a lot of random people are doing some dysgenic breeding and then saying, oh, we don't have no family. This is not, you never started with the recipe for families, right? You started with the recipe for baby mamas and baby mama ingredients, baby mama results, right? And then we're going to oh man, this is, what is happening? What do you mean what's happening? you are getting the cake you baked. You're following the recipe, right? You got to be told something else, right? Like, you know, and this buzzword of community. Look, man, and this guy, like, so black women are the worst people for celebrity men to have kids with. You guarantee her cloud hungry ASS is going to run to social media and tell her side while you're grinding generational wealth. And look, this guy has 6 confirmed baby mamas, rumored to be 8. Right? You've spoiled 7 other women. There just aren't enough to go around. And if you don't start telling people, you don't start telling the women to be a better product, and you don't stop telling the so-called good men to stop being weak, it's just going to be admixture for the next 40 years, and that's it. Right? That is it. And so my comment was, they are both low-class gestinic breeders having sex for pleasure and breeding randomly. Because that's what's happening. Right? You're not mixing family ingredients together and something bad happens. You are mixing baby mama ingredients together and getting exactly the cake you're baking. Right? Matter of fact, just before that, I made a comment about Cam Newton. Oh, yeah. Okay. Right here. So, a broken cloud. What is this? Oh, okay. Yeah, this is same thing, right? And another thing, man, black men need patriarchy. You got to stop listening to women. I mean, this is just retarded. Well, I'll let you listen to this.
A lot of people see my situation and not think that I'm not high functioning.
What situation?
Okay, so I'm not married. I have beautiful children.
How many?
8.
By how many women?
3. And this is the kicker. I want more.
By multiple women?
What a man child, dude. I want more, with that little smirk on his face, dude. That is some man child bullshit, dude.
What's the intent
I
of
just
just saying
want God
about
to
your
bring
wife?
him. I just want God to bring him.
Oh, okay.
My desire to get married is lower than my fear of divorce. So, as you had said,
And he thought that was deep, right? Have you ever seen anyone so pleased with themselves?
Dr. Brian, you said it. I didn't say it. I will agree. I'm just taking my time.
Man, just
You're not taking your time.
I am, though.
You're being very action-based. You're not taking your time.
I'm taking my time.
You're being very action-based. You have 8 kids
Yeah.
with 3 different women.
Yes.
You are creating, procreating, and multiplying. That is not taking your time. You're being very selectively active. Okay? So you're creating, and disclaimer, the kids are innocent, they are beautiful and amazing. Anything I say has nothing to do with them babies. But
okay, blah, blah, blah. She's going to talk. Right. So a broken clock is right twice a day. Right. But Cam Newton is an easy target. 8 kids by 3 women means none of his kids will feel the security and love of having a 2-parent home. Can't be in 3 places at once. Even if he splits his time evenly in each house, that means 2/3 of the time his kids are wondering, where is daddy? He is a selfish man child. And it's true. That is true. Now, but here's the thing, when you're like, well, what about the men? Here, let me show you who likes this. The likers of this post, right? Yep. 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 Right. The people, the women that need to be a better product are not encouraged to be a better project. And this chick is like, me after I kill my N-word. Look at this. That's who loves that post. So If you don't, there is no just, oh, it's going to fix itself or anything like that. And look, you have to tell the simps, right? And the weak men that they just they can't have it. They don't get to live like this and be like, well, the women, you know, da, 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 da. This is the picture of the gynocracy, man. These guys, right? The trunk of the tree, right? The fruit gets the apple on the end of the leaf on the end of the twig gets all the attention, right? Nice and crisp, juicy. But the trunk of the tree of the gynocracy is black men. Sorry. Now, and here comes this guy defending it, right? Or trying to add some nuance. Like it's like 3 separate houses, no matter which kid is which, right? And it's like the rationale. But if you were already broken homes, why are they in much better position since he's been present? And it's like, oh, I have a baby with a woman that is already a single mom. Well, it's all good if I have money, right? It's a 70% bastardy rate, right? Just eat, sleep, fight, bust, right? When, I'm up and I'm in my office and then, 7 o'clock in the morning, my door opens, Daddy, and she hops in my lap and, talks to me, said, how did you sleep? I slept well. What are you going to do today? It's summer now. So, I'm going to go to, a museum with mommy, or I'm going to go swimming, or I'm going to go do a play date. His kids don't get that. His beautiful children don't get that. BS, another man child. Another man child. So, where are we at? Okay, now, what does it show this? Oh, let me finish the video. See if I have anything else to say.
It's really not cool.
Oh, and another thing is, if there are 650,000 more married black men, right? Obviously, if black people were only marrying black people, those numbers would be the same, but they're not, right? So you're going to see that in real life. And trust me, black women are seeing that in real life. Yeah.
Black men are attacking black women. And it's not a cool, they're not creating homes.
Shut up. You don't want a home. You don't want a home.
They're creating babies.
You know what? And here's the thing, man. Here's why I don't know. I keep saying this, right? I spent a good part of my 30s like going to upper middle class / wealthy neighborhoods to just like absorb it. You know what I mean? The black women I saw do not look like this. Right? There are no tattoos. There's no long nails. There's none of that. They don't look like this.
Everywhere. It's not cool. And I'm asking you.
Be a better product. Because the moment a black man like changes his life around, or here, let me use this again. All right, let me show the archetypes. A black man who comes from humble means, right? And wants to do better in life. And as soon as he gets all his ish squared away, right? I would not tell him to come back, right? I would not. Right? And I've shown this before. You're new to the channel. This is racial dot map of Memphis, South Memphis, this area down here. The orange dots are black people, right? And South Memphis, right? Terrible, right? This is East Tennessee up here, right? It's about, the predominant race is black. It's about 2/3 black. And all the homes up here are, $500,000 and up, right? So you'd never know this existed if you didn't know Memphis, right? Memphis doesn't get national attention for ease. It gets national attention for all this garbage going on down here, right? So if a man comes from this area, gets his ish together, and says, I want to come over here to Eads, and you're going to tell him this is the pool of women he has to pick from? It's not happening. Not happening, because I am not under any circumstances picking a K Michelle. Ain't happening. You got it. Oh, I did not know that. That is wild, bro. I mean, that should tell you it's for the quick pleasure, not the long term. Quick pleasure, not long term. And of course, when I said this, right, Sub was like, you really hate black women. Like, I'm just telling you the truth. Somebody needs to tell them to be a better product. Because I'm not trying to move to the suburbs, and I'm not taking K Michelle with me. It just ain't happening.
Other successful black men to be, you have to set an example as leads. The cute social media back and forth on black women. Black women are strong. Black women are where you come from, this and that. So.
Oh, and look, man, the reach back is coming. This is just part of the reach back. And I mean, it is going to be epic. Epic. Because literally the bottom is falling out of the gynocracy. Right? At every turn. The public sector, social safety net, paying back student loans, unemployment rate, it's all coming to a head at the same time.
There probably isn't any sympathy for you and just life happening, because there's so many other things around you going on that are not fair to black women. What is going on with the black family?
There are no black family ingredients, sweetheart. There are no, listen, these people in Eads, black family ingredients. There is no black family ingredients down here. Right? There isn't. That's why there are no families here. And this is the majority. I mean, you don't get to a 70% out of wedlock birth rate from nowhere, right? And now that they've been Thelma and Louise, the black community, off the cliff, it's like, where are black men gonna come say what? You have to be a better product. And if you actually cared about the black community, you would be telling them to be a better product, and you'd be telling the men to stop being weak, because patriarchy chiefly restrains men, right? But the thing is, we don't live in a vacuum. That's why I said if you were to Thanos snap all black men in the Heathcliff Huxtable, they would abandon black women en masse. Because I mean, I don't know.
Consistently creating the cycle of kids who can't come home and see their daddy there.
Bro, what is so difficult about Marry Then Carry? Is that complicated? Seriously, is that complicated? Am I tripping? Tell me if I'm wrong. Oh man, you ain't lying. Oh my God. I can barely listen to it, man. Barely. Right? Am I tripping?
And they see their mama sad at night. At what point is the successful black men in this world going to step in and really create structure? I see white men do.
And do what? Listen, man, there was, dude, I don't have the stat handy, but 65% of black women that have 2 or more kids have them with different dads, right? That number is 50% with black men, right? So there is a deficit there because it's hypergamy, right? When she said, "Oh, when black men go, literally the stepdaddy pipeline has collapsed because this used to not be an issue." Right, the stepdaddy pipeline was alive and well. They could get black men to be stepfathers no matter what. Oh, you got 2, 3 kids? I'm here for you. Now, culturally, that move is being derided, right, and being shamed. So now they see that and it's like, when are you going? No, that existed for a long time and now it's breaking down. And that is why interracial dating among black men is skyrocketing.
Doing it every day. I get to witness the best of both worlds every day. Getting on stage singing R&B, being here in Atlanta, I get to sing R&B, but then I get to go to Nashville and be like, you mean you ain't staying out till 6 in the morning? You gonna go home to your family? You gonna write this song and leave at 5 and 6 because you gonna take care of your family and your wife? At what point do the successful black men build black families? We ain't gonna ever have.
Right here, fool. Right freaking here. And see, this is why I say, can black culture be victorious, right? All right, because they're right here. Right? They are right here. And there's like, well, what's going on? When is someone else going to save me? Right? When are you going to say, oh, okay, I'm going to emulate the women in East Tennessee and not the women in South Memphis? Right? Because just saying. And it's kind of, it's kind of ironic that she's saying this to Cam Newton, right? Who she ain't talking to Cam Newton because Cam Newton got 8x3, right? So it's just like, best he could do is buy a homestead that all 3 of them kind of live in and around. That's about the best you can do.
Have a black family if y'all don't do it. We're never gonna have it. It's just not gonna happen. So
and who is y'all? Yep. So do we tell PhD Keisha to marry the bus driver? Nope. Right? We had that conversation. If he owned the bus company. Let me look for that clip.
Your mentality is, yes, things happen. And I'm not knocking you for that. I didn't come here for that. But at what point do you take that black woman? Do you be at a home and show your kids what it's like, At what point do you take a grip to it, not make excuses for it or mantras and things like that? It is so unfair to black women who have been the strength and builders of so.
Hell no. You got to be
Would
kidding.
you date a bus driver? Would you date
if he owns the bus? If he owns it. If he owns the bus,
See, that's a problem. That's a problem.
Huh?
That's a problem. Okay. Because the standards and requisites, and I'm not talking about him laying on his.
So many things. And I know life happens. You can't be with somebody you don't want to be with or whatever. But my grandparents did it. My grandfather, 92, died when he was 92, my best friend. I never seen another type of man. That's why I've turned down 3 rings.
That's why I have turned down 3 days. Another observation, right? None of the women, right, that are, I guess, let's say manosphere adjacent, right, are married, right? And look, I came into this space bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and nice and naive and thought, wow, you know, if one of these women get married, that's going to help, quote unquote, our case, right? An uplift and an upturn, you know, in the Black community, right? This when Kevin Samuels was still alive. And boy, they set me straight. None of them married. And really the archetype for the women that do participate in the space or manosphere adjacent, whatever, is getting married in their 40s to some 50-year-old simp. A la Sister George and a la that other chick. I forget her name. Other older chick. I was like, that's it. You know, plenty attractive. Right? And look, we're men. We know they've got men in their phone today that will marry them. Well, she's already married, right? But like, yeah, the you know, what's her name? The infamous Courtney, right? Just watched who's that other one? Lucky Marie, right? Plenty attractive, and you know, we're guys, right? So we understand that there are men in her phone right now that will marry her. They just don't want them. Right? The idea that there's nobody out there, right? She don't want to be married. That's why she's not married. Right? These brothers are hungry. They're starving. Right? To pretend that they have no options or choices. Please stop it. Stop it. Right? These guys, oh, where'd that go? Shoot. But those guys pictured before, I'm with her. Those guys are starving. Starving.
Because they wasn't like my grandpa. My grandfather raised 9 kids on his own because my grandmama died before I could even meet her. What point are our black men going to stop the bullshit, the social media shit and all of that and build black homes if we don't?
When you're available. When you're available. When you marry the dudes that are already standing there in your face. Right? These guys hungry. These guys hungry. They're starving.
Build black homes. We can't depend on white folk to build black homes. So when you see somebody like your significant other who clearly loves you, and it's all these black women rooting for her, rooting for you. They want you.
Dude, he got 3 of them. He got 3. This is not the archetype. Here's what they all want this guy, but he's got 3. Right?
To build a black home. That's their anger. They don't know you. They can't judge you for anything else. They want you being who you are, being attractive, being successful. They want you to take hold and solidify and build a black home. That's not saying you're not taking care of the kids you have, because clearly you are, and you love your kids. Taking care of your kids and building a home is 2 different things.
Hey, one thing, man, you know, part of the gynocracy is listening to women. You know, there's far too much of that. Right? Your granddaddy went to the lodge for a reason. Right? Your great grandfather communed with other men. They weren't sitting around here listening to women. Good God. So actually, you know what? You know what? I'm not going to play this. Mute tab. We're just going to get the visuals. I'm not putting the music on so I don't get copyrighted. So, oh, okay. Okay. So this is the same woman, y'all. It's looking pretty family. Looking pretty family. Wait. She wants to make this music and then go home to her family? Come on, man. What are we doing here? What are we doing? She wants to go to a studio in Nashville and make this music and then go home to her family. And that's another thing. Why did they try to make this family? Right? Holy smokes, dude. Yeah, that's K. Michelle, man. Trying to make this family? No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. No. No.
At what point are we gonna stop these back and forths? Oh, this type of woman don't say nothing to me about that. Well, guess what? You're just weak. Like, you want a strong woman around you.
And there we go. They know the gynocracy, bro. They understand it. They got to get you fools back on the plantation doing what they need you to do, bringing those resources back to them despite their own actions. Right? That's why if I have a post on X critiquing men, who's out there liking it? The K. Michelles of the world.
And I'm sorry, like, black women have just, that we get copied from hair to body to
Hair. Stop.
everything. Black women are the most unloved individuals in America, but the ones who have built.
The most mimicked.
Most mimicked.
Bro, okay, so I don't think people who say this are bright enough to understand if you're just a pantomime, you are a minstrel, right? If you're just pantomimed by others, but their results are different because they have a different culture and they just imitate you because it's funny, you are the minstrel. That is not a compliment. That is not a compliment, right? Coming out and mimicking hood stuff and then being able to just leave that aside because it's minstrel work. It's not an integral part of their being and their identity. You know, stop saying that. We're the most copied. You sound like an idiot. See, and that's what I think the problem is. And that's what people don't want to face, man. That's what, exactly, Deacon Dave. That's what these guys, this is the gynocracy. This is the trunk of the tree, right? These are its roots, right? So, oh well, you were told.
Good or bad mimic, you know? But we looking to you. We looking to you. A successful black man, we are looking to you to
For what?
change the narrative. And when you don't
Change the narrative, but don't change your behavior. Change the narrative, please. Actually, no, come back here.
Can't judge you for anything else. They want you being who you are, being attractive, being successful. They want you to take hold and solidify and build a black home. That's not saying you're not taking care of the kids you have, because clearly you are, and you love your kids. Taking care of your kids and building a home is two different things. At what point are we gonna stop these back and forths? Oh, this type of woman don't say nothing to me about that. Well, guess what? You're just weak. Like, you want a strong woman around you, and I'm sorry, like, black women have just, that we get copied from hair to body to everything. Black women are the most unloved individuals in America, but the ones who have built.
The most mimicked.
Most mimic. Good or bad mimic, you know? But we looking to you. We looking to you. A successful black man, we are looking to you to change the narrative. And when you don't, it becomes, go on that show and tear his ass up.
I receive that. And nothing but a white flag, because I have been guilty. But if we're going to have this conversation, how we need to have this conversation, just like you're holding me accountable.
Hold me accountable.
I need black women to hold themselves.
Okay, come on, let's go.
Hear that? Hold themselves accountable. Now, he's not going to do it. They're going to do it on their own, self-directed. All right, so took longer than I thought. So, you know, it's just, let's see, where are we at? Where we at? Yeah, there is very much a, yeah. Very true. Turn down 3 minutes. And look, man, we all know what's going on. We all know what's happening. See, and look. Okay, so Dave, yeah, we as black men want a chance to fix it, but we got to stop preying on their vulnerability and steer them right, or we'll have a dating pool of mud. Here's the thing, man. Black, we don't live in a vacuum, man. Right? There are a myriad of options. And, you know, what I don't think, you know, people want to quote unquote save the community, want to acknowledge is there is choice. And comparatively speaking, you know, people try to say it's proximity, but, you know, this is America. You've got other choices, right? And black men date out at twice the rate of black women for a reason, right? They have to be worth saving. You know, if you can get a comparison, right? If you can get a Porsche for 10K or you can get a bust down Honda for 10K, what are you going to do? You know, there's just a difference in outcome. You know, if I can go get if Thanos snapped me into Heathcliff Huxtable, do I want a woman who comes from a 2-parent home, or do I want someone who's come from a single parent home and got long lashes and wigs and all that other stuff? I mean, comparatively speaking, man, you just, there has to be an increase in value, or men in general just aren't going to make that choice because you already see them not making that choice. So, right, you cannot expect men to, look for a needle in a haystack in a field full of haystacks when they can, find a bundle of needles in a single haystack. You can't expect that. Oh, really? I had no idea. I don't know. But Yeah, that's the thing. It has to be a better choice. There has to be a better outcome on the end of that, and just Black culture is not set up that way, right? Because what she say, you're weak. That's who you are. You're weak. You want a strong woman. Nah, Thanos snapped into Heathcliff. You don't want a strong woman. These guys might, but you don't want these guys, and you're not going to marry them anyway. So, anyway. So, on with the show. Next video.
Because you're bringing.
Oh, card.
Got money, Black women. I said I'm in solidarity for them. No love at all. When you get up here and you say things like fuck Black babies and fuck Black single mothers, you don't operate out of love towards Black people.
No, we don't judge. We listen and we don't judge.
You don't operate out of love towards Black.
You're cutting me off. You get up here and you say
I have not said anything disrespectful to you tonight.
Oh my God.
I have not said anything disrespectful to you whatsoever. You can't even stay in frame.
Okay,
You're just an angry person.
Ava,
you're angry in real life.
Okay.
Let me say something. Ava, your mic not working, so you might want to leave and come back. But I'm gonna say this, right? Jazz, I don't agree. Well, you're right. Half of the shit you said. You're right in part. You didn't start with some of the shit you started with tonight on this panel, but you're definitely wrong when it comes to Anton not appreciating or giving back to the Black community, right? I've seen it in person. I've seen it on his streams, Millionaire Morning Show, send people money, right? There's different types of Black people, right? So just because Anton talks
See, what we're getting into now is a lack of class structure.
about Black women, if it doesn't apply, it doesn't apply. Not all Black people are the same. But
okay, I'm not saying
but we can't say that Anton does not like the Black community. He has a Black wife, a Black daughter. He supports Black businesses. I'm in the Patreon. He gives back to the Black community. Christmas, he was giving away money to Black people, right?
Okay.
And let's also think of that.
He got money. He gives it. We know that.
No.
That's not what I'm talking about.
No.
That's not what I'm talking about.
But that's a way to support Black people, right?
No, you can't sit here and say I support Black people because I write it.
Let me finish, right? So there's a lot of people say they pro Black, but they ain't doing shit. They haven't done shit to the Black community. They haven't given back, not even to their own family members. So for a man to give back to total strangers and say he don't give back to the Black community, that's completely wrong. Because you never encountered Anton, right? I can talk Black women. I can say I've encountered horrible Black women, but guess what? I've encountered good.
No, and here's the thing, man. This is the spirit of waiting for Superman, right? There's this idea that we're just one big Negro, and if we just quote unquote give back, right? This loosely defined thing of give back. Everything's going to get better, right? And the thing is, give back means bring resources, right, with no authority. You don't have authority, but we need some of your resources. Mentor the boys, do this, do that to fix the community. Like, no. No. Right? You don't Thelma and Louise the community, air quotes, off the cliff and then say, hey, now you drive, right? You're 10 feet from the edge. Come in, get in here and drive. That's your obligation to us. No, if you're not a better product, it just ain't happening.
Good Black women. So that doesn't negate what Anton says. He's not saying all Black men, all Black women ain't shit. That's not what he's saying. But he has given back to the Black community more than a lot of these other podcasters are, pro Black this, HBCU this, HBCU that. No, they don't give shit.
Okay.
They just saying that shit to give money back to people.
That's not okay. So what I'm saying is this: that's great. You can cut a check. We know that. You're gonna let us know every time. But as far as you using your platform to actually help the community, you have a very large platform, and you use it to tear the community down. You don't get up here and speak positively. You don't get up here and give props to the success. Every time we talk about Black success, y'all you have something to combat it with, right? Like I heard you even talking about Sinners movie or just anything that has anything to do with Black progress. It irritates.
What did I say about the Sinners movie?
It irritates you. All I'm saying is, Anton, you can sit here and act like.
No, what did I say about it? What did I say about it?
Act like that you're pro-Black.
What did I say about the Sinners movie?
What I'm saying is this. There's always a harsh critique against Black people, even when they're doing
I celebrated it.
even when they're doing something good.
I
there's always
celebrated
a
the
way that you
Sinners
tear it
movie.
down. I'm not about to
Me
play
and Slimmy and Molly had a conversation about it. Slimmy told me to look at it from a different lens. He said, Anton, look at the cinematography and all of this. And then I said, you know what, Slimmy? That they did do an excellent job on that.
What
I
I'm
said, you
saying
know
is-
what? I was looking at it from the lens of comparing it to other vampire movies. You helped me to
And I
understand
agree
it from a
with you
different
on that.
lens. Molly helped me to understand it from a completely different lens. I said, you know what? It is great in its own way. So what did I say negatively about the Sinners movie?
Okay, what I'm saying is this. All right, you got me there. Good job. But even when it came to the Super Bowl, right? Even when it came to the Super Bowl, it was a good moment for Black people, for Blackness, and you had nothing good to say about it, and then wanted to say that, oh, you know, that's the time for us to be entertained. If you were really pro-Black, you would understand the reason why he chose that moment to do what he did, right? Because we're all so used to being entertained, and that's all these white people want us to be, right? Just entertaining them, right? A lot of the time, you assimilate a lot with their rhetoric and with their mindset. So just because you can cut a check, it's a racist company right now cutting checks for Black people
But it's
every day.
just not about
That doesn't mean that they appreciate and value Black people. I don't think that you do. Just because you have some Black women that fuck with you, they probably also have egregious things to say about Black women and Black people as a collective. You sit here and you try to deny racism every day. You make it seem like that when we bring up these irrefutable facts about systemic racism, that we're all just playing the victim. But you don't ever have the smoke for the people that actually put it in place and designed it like this. This has been.
That's the thing. Can Black culture be victorious? Right? Right? There is constant pushback against successful Black people telling other Black people how it is. Constant. Right? And there is look, man, you would think, you know how I know people aren't serious about like improving things for Black people? It's you just say, hey, what are the people in Eads doing that the people in South Memphis are not? Real simple. I mean, just the simplest thing. What are these people doing up here versus what are these people doing? Very simple. But somehow, right, that comparison is avoided at all costs. Matter of fact, dude, Dr. Thunder, right? Love Dr. Thunder, but he does that all the time, right? All the time. And there is a definite desire to not expose Black success or to characterize Black success as an anomaly. Which is just, it is what it is. I don't think it is. It's not productive, man. And that is the desire. You know, matter of fact, here, I'm going to play. Oh, darn. Oh, yeah, here it is. Oh, darn it. Where'd it go? Sorry. There it is.
It is cool. You know why?
Why?
Because I'm just trying to be like my idol.
Who your idol?
King Von.
Who your idol?
King Von.
But see, I'm wrong though. I'm wrong for calling out the dysfunction of the community. Okay, that's what you got that going on, but everybody's problem is with me.
It's not cool to be bad.
It is cool. You know why?
Why?
Because I'm just
Yeah. We just had the excuse me, had the video earlier. What'd he say? Who gets the most girls? The guys who's got the most bodies. Oh, well, damn. Oh, here's another one. This is a good one. I like this. Yeah, y'all might like this, right?
So if we move out of the neighborhood, that's white flight, and that's racist?
But if we move into the neighborhood, that's gentrification, and that's also racist.
Hey, I got news for you. Look, it's not just you. It's not just you. Right? Black people can't move into black neighborhoods. Here you go.
Uncle Tom niggas in the same old way, man. Y'all come out that bag. Y'all gonna leave the community and talking about better the community. How you gonna leave the community, man? Leaving us out here all by ourselves. Y'all supposed to be so-called leaders, so-called Negro bourgeois, snob, Uncle Tom. What's wrong with y'all anyway, man? Y'all come out, you talking about buying a new house? Y'all be buying you some guns, some ammunition, man, for this revolution. You talking about?
See, the problem with like the civil rights movement enabled the low-class blacks, man, gave them a bunch of political power and just basically funneled free money into that culture. That's a problem. And now these Negroes bold, right? Juxtapose that against the video we saw earlier of the other gentleman, right? Families, communities, right? Nobody talked back. There was structure. There was order. You had class structure. And now by the 1970s, it's gone. This fool now feels emboldened.
Moving to a new community, a new house? How you gonna?
Oh, and if you're wondering, if anybody wondered, hey, for any like non-black viewers, if you ever wondered, why don't black people move into black neighborhoods and make them better? You about to find out.
What you gonna do to new house? New houses and clothes and all that. What you gonna do with all that old stuff, man? When the stuff come down, man, your kids. What's wrong with, what about the rest of the kids, man? You ought to stay out here, man, and help somebody.
Black power. Where's the power, man? Where is the power?
Yeah, rebuild it, man, from the ground up, man. This, man, you know, construction and all that. We got people who ain't got jobs, man.
All
Need
that?
homes. Good niggas, huh? That's what you gonna be down here. What you gonna be down here, huh? Man, you missing this black dignity thing, this black pride, man. You doing good. You good niggas all alike, man. I don't know what's wrong with y'all, man. Yeah, bourgeois. Oh, you're Tom. You tell me you're Tom, huh? Good nigga. Okay. Play on then, Uncle Tom.
The black militants feel very often that the so-called middle-class Negro is the same as the middle-class white man. He's indifferent to his problems.
I think the militants are...
You know, if people are like, what happened? You know, what happened to black people, right? Ever since I was a kid, I knew that there was a distinct difference between 1950s, early 1960s, and 1970s, right? In the condition of, quote unquote, the black community, so-called black community. But it was always that nexus right around the civil rights movement. And, you know, and now it's just like, no, the civil rights movement was not co-opted. It was always meant to be a Marxist psyop and was always that, right? Especially when you understand the buildup to it, you know. And may I do another stream on that with Chad O. Jackson, reference some of his material. But I mean, this is it. You wonder why it doesn't get better. The people that can make it better are rejected. And now in 2025, it's, you know, K. Michelle, the hood booger, trying to chastise black men for not building something, as this woman has turned down multiple engagements. Not just, if she's turned down 3 engagements, she's probably had dozens of dudes who could actually would love to wife her, right? And it's the kind of the metric I call smart enough to marry a dentist, right? Nice, boring dentist, makes about 150 grand a year, sends his kids to private school, wife don't work, but they're not smart enough to marry a dentist. They need something more exciting. Yeah, they're not smart enough to marry anybody with a full-time job, apparently.
Are against Negroes moving into a middle-class neighborhood and trying to lose their identity.
It's difficult today.
You hear that? The identity, right? The identity is in the struggle.
Man, he's indifferent to his problems.
I think the militants are against Negroes moving into a middle-class neighborhood and trying to lose their identity.
It's difficult today to be a middle-class Negro because we're sort of in between. The mass Negro, we say here, is usually hostile toward us. And also the Caucasians are also hostile to all groups, so we are a part of that hostility.
Where's my briefcase, dear?
I don't know.
See, and now here's the thing: if you got to choose one side of the track to live on, bro, I'm going to the burbs, man. I can't listen to a bunch of Negroes talk to me like that. That ain't happening. If I got to choose one, and and they would like to portray it as all, it's not, man. I would just rather be away from the dysfunction because it infects your kids, right? As we've talked about many times, the tangle of pathology.
Son, where's David? I guess he's outside, Mom. Well, he's going to be late if you don't hurry up and get him. Okay. Because I got to go to work and get through washing. I'll go. All right, Stacy, let's drink some juice. Okay.
Come on, I'll help you get this off the table. Look at that time.
I'm telling you, I'm getting late for work.
Stacy, hurry now. Sit down and finish your juice. Come on.
Stacy, you're not drinking your juice. Okay.
You have to pick up anything at the store?
No, not today.
And that's the thing, man. You can tell what something is by something that it isn't or what it rejects, right? And the black people that are rejected by the community are for talking white, right? What's sounding exactly? What is sounding black? What is sounding white? All right, you can tell what it is by what it rejects, and it rejects success.
David, we're going to be moving to a new neighborhood. Why? I don't want to. Well, it's not what you want. I think it's best for you and the family.
I understand why Jim Scott would want to move into a white neighborhood. Simply because he's interested in finding better conveniences for himself and for his family.
I think if a Negro would be able to find a good home.
I mean, look at that neighborhood, man. That looks bombed out, bro. And look, it's so in 2025, there are still neighborhoods that look like this. I've driven through them. Dude, parts of North Philly still look post-apocalyptic. I mean, they talk, bro, the kids that go to Rutgers are still hearing gunshots. It is wild that this still exists. This is 50 years ago.
Within a Negro.
I mean, look at it. You want to live around this to keep your identity? Nah, bro. I'll lose it. You can have it.
Negro neighborhood. I believe he would probably stay in the Negro neighborhood. However, as it stands now, it seems as though most of the good homes are in a white neighborhood, and because he wants a decent home, a decent neighborhood to raise his children in, he'll move into the neighborhood.
Because he aspires to have the same things the white man has. The white man says, this is good, this is what you're supposed to have. This is what I've raised you to have. So as soon as he gets in position, he wants to have it,
I assume that he would want to live in a white neighborhood or any other neighborhood because he's supposed to be an American citizen.
Personally, it was for better schools for our children, which didn't.
I mean, personally, man, I've always just chosen just a neighborhood that has the amenities that I want, basically. Nice park, good stores, low crime, and that's usually in, not majority black. Oh well, you can call me what you want.
Not exist in the city schools or in the ghetto schools, we'll put it that way.
I think the middle-class Negro is striving to give his child what he did not have. If it can be accepted by the whites, then his children could mix with them more easily. I think that's the way he feels. We have gone so.
Did you all catch that? Did you all catch that? Here.
far.
Hey, Dad. I'm going to drop you off at whatever this is, a library. I don't know.
I think that's the way he feels.
Hey, I'm gonna go here and bye, Dad. Hell no, I'm out. Where are my YNs at?
We have.
Where are my YNs at? I'm finna get. Oh no, bro. Listen, man. The tangle of pathology is not to be messed with at all. Like at all. It's not. You do not. It is like a zombie rage virus. You do not get around it. I mean, no, it's just not happening. Not me. Might be you, right? You might want to drop your kids off in the hood and assume they're somehow only gonna transmit good things and not receive any bad things. But better than me.
Gone so far, being poor, and finally, when you get this chance to get above the ghetto, get above the slums, you're happy, you're enthusiastic about it, and finally, you think that you have made it into America, the American society.
And see, and that's the thing. We were always, at all times, part of the American society. You had a parallel society, right? That was the same, right? And post like 70s, that's post forced integration. And that was really the problem. People only integrated along class lines and they did so voluntarily. So there's no problem with that. Like that guy earlier said, hey, the administrators of the schools did not live in those neighborhoods. They were already in the suburbs. That was voluntary integration. No issues with that. Now, by 70s, you have this stigma, right? Because it was forced, right? And that didn't need to be there. And that was planned, right? That stigma was planned. Part of organizing Black people for class struggle in America.
Hey, fellas, I'm going to buy a house. Hey, that's great, Jim. Where are you going to get the money? Well, with this order I've closed today, plus I'm going to get a loan from the bank.
Yeah, but you know those interest rates are going up every day.
Well, I think I can manage.
Where are you going to be looking?
Well, I haven't really thought about it yet. I'm looking for a 3-bedroom house. You guys wouldn't know where any homes are available in your neighborhood, would you?
If someone says, well, there's a colored man going to move in next door. There's colored people live right around the corner from us, been there for years and years and years. And they have never bothered anybody, and they're real friendly and real nice. And really, they don't bother nobody.
I'm not prejudiced, but I feel that there's a time and a place for everyone, and I think I stay in my place, and I think that eventually that we will all be together. But right now,
All right. So there. Now, next thing is right. My main man, Thomas Sowell. Yes. All right. Oops. So where do we at?
There simply has not been the pattern of.
No, let me let's go.
Entrepreneurship in the black population. That's been true of other groups such as the Irish, for example. The Irish are doing quite well today, but they're not doing well in entrepreneurial occupations. They're in the law, they're in the church, they're in this, they're in that. And on the bottom line is they're doing better than the average American, but they're not doing it in those particular fields. Every group succeeds in some particular area. Blacks who win Nobel Prizes don't win them in the same fields that the Chinese win Nobel Prizes in.
You identified human capital in your book, and you say, now you tell me if I'm not paraphrasing you correctly, you say the Chinese succeed because they outwork everyone else.
Oh, yes.
Is it that simple?
In a sense, yes. That
Now that triggers a lot of people. Work harder. No. Right? Because the main thing about, again, black culture has to lay the blame, right, at the feet of who? Right? That is the precise reason you cannot compare successful and unsuccessful black people. You can't. You can't compare and contrast them, because at that point you're in charge of your own destiny. And then wither the dominant society. Yeah.
If you put in enormous amounts of work, you're going to have a tremendous advantage over people who don't. A study was done in San Francisco schools to show Asians, blacks, whites, Hispanics, and how they score in various fields, and mathematics in particular. And there were vast differences, for example, between the Asians and blacks in terms of how many got high math grades. What struck me was that for both the Asians and the Africans, the number of hours that you spent working or doing homework in math was almost identical with the same percentage who got high grades in math. So that whether you are black or Chinese.
Wait, what? Let me rewind that. That can't be true.
Of hours that you spent working or doing homework in math was almost identical with the same percentage who got high grades in math. So that whether you are black or Chinese, if you spend an awful lot of time on the math, you're going to be doing better than the person who's not.
Oh,
and
my
although
God,
there were
no.
the disparities were differences in how much time you spent on math homework.
Well, then.
Oh, my God, no. You know what? That is not good news. Not to black culture, because that puts the solution firmly in your hands. And that's the problem.
Conversely, Dr. Swole, are you not saying that groups who do not overachieve are groups who don't work hard enough?
Sometimes, but sometimes the government itself makes it impossible or very difficult for groups to work hard enough. The minimum wage law is one classic example. Occupational licensing laws are another. Insofar as the school system fails, those groups that don't have an independent educational tradition are lost. Whereas if you have that independent tradition, even if you go to a bad school, if the parents can help you, if you get the maximum that you possibly can from the books and so on, you still may achieve quite a lot. So it's a combination. It is the culture, but at the same time, insofar as the society puts barriers, particularly the government, which has tremendous power, and supplies education and other kinds of things. Insofar as they do that, they make it tougher for you to do it.
Well, do you suspect that you may be guilty of de-emphasizing the effects of racism in that pattern?
There's always, everything is a possibility. But
are you blaming racism enough? That's the real question. Are you giving racism its due? Are you? You might not be. You know, let's don't sell racism short, you know? Anyway, wrong. Let me go back. Here we go.
York, of San Francisco, Los Angeles, in many cases far worse off than the average black. So that isn't true that every group has done this. Blacks started much further behind. I don't think people realize how much further behind blacks started and how much progress has been made. There's a distinguished economic historian, Robert Higgs, who has said that for blacks to go from being completely illiterate in the middle of the 19th century to being one-half literate and by 1900 is just an amazing achievement in the history of the world, that you very seldom find that kind of change that quickly. So it depends on what you're holding as your standard.
The standard is that blacks haven't caught up
Here you go.
with whites.
They love the white man.
What whites haven't stood still.
All right, this inexorable link. Oh, the white man this, the white man that, and blah, blah, blah. You can't even acknowledge your own success.
You make another point in terms of intra-black relations, and that is, you say affirmative action, for the most part, has really benefited blacks who really didn't need affirmative action.
Yeah, this is a key part.
Affirmative action is a great way for black PhDs to get endowed chairs. It's a terrible way for some kid in the South Bronx to try to get his first job. What affirmative action does is create an incentive for people to hire those who have a proven track record, those who have degrees and things like that. It makes it more dangerous for the employer to hire an untrained person with no track record, because if he has to fire that person, then he's letting himself in for legal trouble. Whereas you can hire a white.
Can confirm. This rings so true, because throughout my life it has been super easy to get jobs. Right? Just the bias towards competent blacks among blacks in general is something I have observed throughout my life. So when I first heard this, I was like, dang, that makes a lot of sense. Like, it just explained what I had already noticed. You know,
of very doubtful qualifications. If he doesn't work out, throw him out in the street the next week. You hire blacks of doubtful qualifications and throw them out in the street the next week, and you've got the NAACP, you've got the EEOC, you've got God knows who all to contend with. The employers have long ago figured this one out, and so they have not hired those blacks who are at all doubtful, either in terms of qualifications or simply not enough experience to know how good they are. You see this in the data. Blacks who have education, who have experience, have been moving up on whites, and in some cases overtaking whites. If you look at blacks who have not finished high school, blacks who come from background of families that are broken and so forth, they are falling further and further behind, not only further behind the population in general, but further behind whites with the same disadvantages.
What do you blame for that? You're not blaming middle-class blacks who are beneficiaries of affirmative action, are you?
I'm blaming the incentives created by affirmative action, because when it comes to the incentives that are created, the businessman is going to try to protect himself whatever way he can, and that means hiring those blacks who are overqualified, who have a long track record, and so on. And that's what all the data.
and so that is the dark side of affirmative action. It helps some blacks, but hurt others. If you had just left it alone, right, you at least wouldn't have hurt the others, because competent blacks didn't need it. But oh well, and that plays out forward, right? Affirmative action in college admissions. Well, guess what? There's never any pressure to fix the high schools, and now you have Baltimore, where nobody can read, right? I mean, it's only gone one way and gotten worse with affirmative action as far as achievement of high school, right? Because you keep on artificially admitting people. Didn't help you in the end. So, oh well. Now, so the other thing is I want to examine is this oppression tick, right? It's like a tick. You can't, it's like, but what about my this and what about my that? You know, because currently in this stream, let's see. Let me play this.
His ass whooped. That's what he need. That man should have grabbed his little ass by his neck, choke slammed his ass, and stomped his ass out. That's what he should have did. You know why? I was in school in the 80s. That's what a teacher will do to your ass. Oh, yeah. And it wasn't even a big deal. The kid be back to school the next day. Parents wouldn't even come up there. It wasn't even a big deal. You might get suspended for fighting the teacher. I've seen teachers spaz out and beat the brakes up off some stuff. In the 80s, it was different. I was in Alabama, so it was different. We stuck in the time warp. Might as well have been the 60s in the 80s. And I'm telling you right now, Mr. Knuckles didn't play, bro. Mr. Knuckles, you come up in Mr. Knuckles class, and you talking greasy. Mr. Knuckles, what you want to do?
Can't confirm. It was even like that in San Diego in the 80s. I had a crazy teacher, Mr. Vogler. Nobody messed with Mr. Vogler. I mean, not even during the height of the crack era and gangbanging. Nobody messed with Mr. Vogler. Not gonna do it.
These kids can't even do 10.
Hold on. Let me get to this
I
part.
guess what?
Where
Look at a one.
Darn it.
Refer to another school.
The audience, I haven't been here. The problem is not can't
Oh, here.
will skew education.
So basically the oppression tick, right? And so this guy's saying, I mean, right after slavery, we were outpacing whites and we had our own towns and cities until they was burned down, but we don't talk about that. What do you mean you don't talk about
Or
that?
they'll just
That's all they freaking talk about, right? And they say this as if every single black town got burned down, right? Like it didn't. Tulsa got rebuilt. Heck, the intro to my channel has a parade from Tulsa after the riots, which are now the massacres, right? There's an oppression tick. Like everything is formed in victimhood, man. Everything. This is like, dude. And like this here, right?
Casino, right?
So they are here talking about gentrification in Atlanta, right? Are black people forced to leave Atlanta?
These are the two of the major culprits of gentrification in Atlanta, right? They're definitely the major culprits of starting Cop City, right? Just the idea of it, right? And look at what Keisha's doing right now. Keisha left Atlanta as the mayor. Then she goes to the Biden White House. Like they're getting rewarded to kick black people out of they're failing upwards, right? So now Keisha's about to run for governor of the state, right?
But right
and
now,
we
I
don't
just
want
think
what
it's
happened
too
to Atlanta to happen.
The way I feel about it,
To happen
that
to
it
Savannah,
takes
right?
one person 20 years
And
of
Savannah's slowly getting gentrified.
Uncle Tom niggas,
No.
same old way, man. Y'all will come out that bad. Y'all gonna leave the community and talking about better the community. How you gonna leave the community, man? Leaving us out here all by ourselves. Y'all supposed to be so-called leaders.
Leaving us out here by ourselves.
Might have value as close to downtown is getting destroyed. I can't knock Mike because Mike is hiring black people from the neighborhood. Mike is an advocate for like making
Right. And so it's characterized as someone is doing something to black people.
sure that black businesses stay in the areas that they're supposed to stay in. And he throws other businesses money to stay open because he just wants these people to be in business in black neighborhoods. There are some real true warriors for their culture. There are a lot of like famous warriors that are trying to save their neighborhoods. But then again, there's also people who show up at the election night party, right? Who go and party with the new mayor and sit by.
See, it's always characterized as somebody doing something to them. Right. And now here's Atlanta. So first time homebuyer program. Right. And I know about this because actually I had a chick take me by here and say, hey, this neighborhood is getting some money. Right. Vine City Renaissance Initiative. This is how subsidized it is. Right. Home buyers that meet income qualifications and plan to stay 5+ years in their new Vine City home can get $20,000. Right. Towards down payment and closing costs. 20 grand. Right. Must qualify for a 30-year fixed rate FHA, VA, or conventional mortgage loan with an Invest Atlanta participating lender. Bro, you need a 600 credit score and a job, basically. That's it. Right here, the income limits, 112,000. Like, I don't know how you make it easier. Right? I don't know how you make it easier. How do you make it easier? You don't. What's the problem? This guy. This guy has a problem.
Bourgeois, snob, Uncle Tom.
Right? People know it. That you move. If black people try to move here, Pookie would destroy them. Right? But when I went to this neighborhood, there were a few perfect little homes. Perfect postage stamps. The yards were manicured, flowers out front, all white families. they will be left alone, right? It will leave them alone. If a black guy moves in, he gets this.
What's wrong with y'all anyway, man? Y'all come out, you talking about buying a new house, y'all be buying.
And look, and I'll show you where it's at. This is prime real estate, Vine City. Prime real estate, right by the stadium. Right? This Vine City. This little square here. Dude, this is the Dome, Holmes. Just right here. Look how close you are to downtown. Like right there. And let's see, for sale. Let's see, sold. 180K, 43K. These are lots. Some of these 43K are probably lots. But and this is sold for 200,000, right? But if you look at the market value, show more. Back when I first heard of this neighborhood in like 2017, it didn't come on the market until 2013, so you can't tell. But this house would have been 50 grand in 2017. Right. 450. I don't know if this was a lot or if they built on a lot, it's not going to have a history. No, was built on a lot, I think. Yeah, it's probably built on a lot, so it's not going to have a history. Oof, 109,000. Yikes. But look, you know what this looks like? Opportunity. Estimated market value, 211, right? Sold for 109. Look at this. 86K. Right? Estimated 211. You just could have made money here. But black people aren't moving here because low-class blacks don't want middle-class blacks moving in here. It is what it is. Right? And so, this whole black people are forced, yada, yada, yada.
Go from, black culture, black center, and under auspice of crime, and also just the financial.
So, and let me ask you this. If the white people can't move in, they can't move away. And then the black people can't move in. And then the black people can't move away. What is to be done? You're just supposed to wait for Superman and magic, some sort of magic these people into a different status and a way of life. Is that how it works?
Aspect of it. They get pushed out of their neighborhoods and they sit silently by. But Mike's not one of them.
What about people like Torrin? What about people like Stacey Abrams? And some of these other celebrities? Like, I don't know if everybody knows.
And here, I'm gonna tell you what happened.
The problem is now
they left, right? So like 2000 to 2010, black people left, right? Their percentage was 61% of Atlanta, and it went down to 54% of Atlanta. You understand? At the same time, Metro Atlanta, right, went up from 2000 to 2010. You went from 1.18 million to 1.7 million in the metro area. Basically, they swapped, right? Black people were like, I'm out of here, and everybody else can move in. It's mostly going to be white people. That's what happened. You'll be like, oh, we're black people forced, da-da-da. Families left. You can't hold on to a city with baby mamas and Pookies and Ray Rays. You can't do it. They left. Right? Now black people are all over Atlanta. But the families were like, gotta go. Right? The city proper, no thanks. But that is not in the conversation, right? This is the conversation. Are black people forced to leave Atlanta? No, they chose to leave. I mean, and this is like statistically significant. You just can't ignore it going down. And look, there was no population growth either from 2010, from 2000 to 2010, right? That drop, 0.8% growth, right? So it's basically a swap. Black people were moving out quickly, right? And as soon as they could move out, white people were moving in. That's what happened. So, but again, can black culture be victorious? I don't think so. Right? If a key part of it is always framing it as somebody doing something to us, how can you be victorious if that is your mindset? Right? I don't think it can. So let's see. Matter of fact, this brother is a good dude, man, but Alvin. Yep, there it is.
I'm 30.
There are people in this world.
So let me see. Let me cue this up.
Insulting you like he called you the N-word?
No. Listen,
Point
why?
is-
No, grew up in the crack era. The dope man's car after school don't want them.
I agree with you.
That's what I mean by them.
I agree. But here's the thing. I know I understand what you're trying to do. And I get it. All of us on this panel are closer to being on the same side of the street when it comes down to this. But we know, just like anybody else knows, that we're all one big Negro. We know this. And this is what it is.
See, that is loser mentality. I'm sorry. It's like you do not own your own self-image. If you have to think that, oh, what do these other people think about me? No, it's like Nietzsche. So, the Nietzsche, you have slave mentality and you have master mentality or master morality, right? Masters set their own value, they set their own worth, right? Slaves do not. So this is slave morality. One big Negro is slave morality.
It is. Look, even Dennis, bro. Look,
No,
you heard.
bro.
Hold
That
on,
is your
hold on,
reality.
Look,
That is your reality.
look, listen, hold on, listen.
So let's see. All right, got to microaggression. Okay, here we go.
Group of people are,
and I'm making the.
It's like I said, it's just.
And I'm making the point here, right? This is the number of murder victims in the United States, right? And of course, this is the total, right? And this here is black murder victims, which of course is the highest. So, and my point was, this is the number no one cares about, right? They want better branding for this number. They don't actually want it to be less.
Disingenuous. Now, again, like I said, it's poor. I would be curious to know how many of these 9,000, 284 were poor. Maybe there aren't that many. I don't.
And that's why I went over poverty earlier. When that guy was speaking, there were plenty of poor people with cardboard in their shoes. But what they had were families. So they were somehow able to not murder each other, right, at this rate. Somehow, despite poverty.
No, I would like to know how many of these people came from poor places and how many people came from wealthy places. And I would like to know the same thing for the white and all the other races. I would like to know. I'm not saying that there would be a difference. I'm just curious because the first question I ask is because I would assume that there's a correlation between poor and crime. not just black in crime. But I could be wrong. Go ahead. Sorry, Friedman.
No, it's just yeah. Let's say.
I mean, I could be off base.
No
I'd like
one-
to have a conversation, please.
No one. It is a. I'm about to ask. You know, I had a thought. Is like, is it possible to be black and not oppressed? Is it possible to be black and win?
That's a good question.
I just examine the body language.
Friedman.
No, it's just yeah. Let's say.
I mean, I could be off base. I'd like to have a conversation, please.
No one. It is a. You know, I had a thought. Is like, is it possible to be black and not oppressed? Is it possible to be black and win?
That's a good question.
Is it possible to be black and victorious? Because the people that I notice that are the most wedded to black do not seem to be focused on victory.
Okay.
Just a thought.
Okay.
And simple shit, you're gonna really enjoy this now. When y'all talking about black poverty and white poverty now we've seen white poverty in areas like, well, even over there in California in areas.
So that's what. Actually, that was the genesis of the stream. This stream was like actually a couple weeks in the making, but yeah, that's the thing. Is it possible? Because I don't see a lot of victory in black culture. Personally, I don't want to see a lot of. It's that tick, right? It is that oppression tick is what I see, right? And there are other parts of that same live stream. They're talking about education, and it's the underfunding tick. Oh, the school's underfunded. That's not true. Hasn't been true for a long while, but that tick remains. So, but yeah, let me.
You could go into the band.
There is no.
Even if it has to go back to the thing where we all lived in the same community as well, like the lady down the street knew your people, and she could chastise you if you was out there doing something, and then she could tell your mama, and then she here with you or something like that. Or if somebody's daddy catch you out there skipping school, he tell your daddy, then both y'all get tore up that way. I know that's kind of archaic, but we got to come back to being a community the same way everybody else does. Because if you
See, it's again, that is part of the tick, right? Community. What community? Like what community? You got to have a family. And no one talks about the families, because if you do, you run right into the problem of choice. You run right into K. Michelle turning down 3 marriage offers. And who knows how many dudes who actually would marry her and have kids and do all that white picket fence stuff. Right? That's probably dozens of men.
if you notice, even with the gentrification of America, even with the fact that people are living, that they're graduating high school and they're going to college and they're living outside of the people that they grew up with, every other ethnic group still is able to find community with each other. Except black people. You got 1 or 2 black people living in white communities. You got 1 or 2 black people living over here.
Bro, that is not true. Again, that is not true. Right? You have a whole community over here, but somehow, again, that one big Negro attitude, as if these people here in South Memphis are the same as these people in Eads. Right? Get on my level. Do what I'm doing, and then you can be here. Because there is no, like this blue color here is white people, right? Most of these white people are in the socioeconomic strata does not vary that much. You're not going to find a lot of people as poor as South Memphis, right? But you will gradually see an increase in income, probably as you get further and further out here, right? These homes are bigger, these homes are smaller, but they're older. And I've been through this area. Some of these are nice, man. Some nice old streets, some tree-lined streets on both sides, nice. But it tends to aggregate. Urban areas tend to aggregate wealth for white people, and they also have this concentrated poverty for black people. So you have this huge dichotomy, right? And they say, oh, well, we can be a community. You can't. You cannot. And it didn't even exist back then by evidence of the other video I played. The administrators of the school did not live in the quote unquote community.
Black people who have family across town who we don't even see. And that's going to fragment us even more than we already are. And we're going to end up being in a situation where we end up becoming exiles in our own country. We got to fix this. I feel like that's the only way we can do that. Again, I don't know what it looks like. I don't have the money or the resources for that, but I feel like we got to start.
Hey, do y'all remember, for those of y'all who also watch SKC, do you remember when he gamed that question out? Remember that? He gamed out the question of what would happen in the future, and basically the community is eviscerated, and what is left of the black community becomes a small, like, well-respected part of American society. You remember that? So, like, what's going to happen? It's like, no, black people aren't going away, right? But South Memphis is going away, right? For reasons of black men are dating out, right? The black people that are going to be around and marry each other are going to be the people in East Tennessee. And while admixture just subsumes South Memphis, right? Exactly. Right? He gamed the whole thing out in Chat GPT. Man, I wish you had published that.
Looking at each other communally instead of individually like we're doing now.
I appreciate that. Hey, repost the space. We got 5 reposts, man. Let's get that up to 10, 15. Repost the space. Follow the host, follow the folks on the panel, man. It's a good conversation, Brother Torrent, and postpone the meeting. I appreciate that. Fish in the air for Torrent. Now, I mean, having a good conversation up here.
Yes, dear.
You said they call them trade schools in Louisiana. I thought those were separate schools.
Called career centers. At least my high school. The high school that I went to was called a career center. I went to the Academy of Health Careers. And each high school had a specific career that you could. It was a lottery system. Anybody in the community could go to that. It wasn't just based on zones and stuff like that, right? And then based on whichever high school you went to. So there was an engineering career center. There was, and then we had the career center itself where you could go and get trades. So they would leave in the middle of high school, be bused to another facility. The year was the only time you were able to go to career center. So that was always maybe 1 or 2 courses. All of these people see it firsthand. To Steph's point, as a community is gonna of where the problem comes from. The problem comes from lack of emotional regulation for a lot of these kids, a lot of lack of parenting. Nobody has ever, unless you have multiple kids, you had never been a parent before. This is your first lifetime being a parent. You don't understand what can and can't happen, whatever. Not everybody has the opportunity to have a parenting class, or hey, this is how your child feels. A lot of us grew up in broken homes, and I don't mean that your parents wasn't there. Your parents may have been broken, and that was passed down. Like, it's just so many different layers that go into this before we get to something like this type of a bill, where we're now gonna penalize these adults for kids' actions. Number one, without addressing their needs. That doesn't work like that. That.
Oh, sorry for context. This live stream was when a few weeks ago when they were talking about the bill to punish parents for the kids' behavior, right? And that went viral. I don't know. That was maybe about a month ago. So that's the context of this space.
Literally just push them into a worker space.
Hold on, wait, Trey. We got Freeman's Journal up here. He just got to the stage. He has some thumbs down in the listeners. How you feeling? What's the word? Freeman's Journal. Going once.
Hey, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. How you feeling?
Oh, good.
All good. Did you know about the conversation that we have and had any thoughts to contribute to the Parent Accountability Act, the effects on the community, effects on the state, as far as funding, especially when the Board of Education is being dismantled? Have any comments?
Yeah. So again, the funding tick. Okay? The funding tick. It's like communita Tourette's. It's an act of desperation.
On whose part?
On the part of the school
teachers?
system. On the part of the school system.
Okay.
Because what are they left with? Right? What tools do they have to handle this? Is it their job? Right? Are they supposed to be social workers or educators? Right? How is it fair to the kids that manage to not hit teachers?
I think that's it. That's an extreme, the extreme case, right? The most extreme case, and where putting your hands on a teacher, and that's recommended for jail time. But they also specifically mention repeated acts of misbehavior and basically judging how involved the parent is in the child's life, and if it is determined that they're not adequately in their child's life, then they can be penalized as well with fines and community service and parenting classes. So it's not just putting the hands on the teacher. I know we like to hang on, the most extreme, but there are other things as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily focusing on the act, but it's the point of desperation, right? So, yeah, I mean, what else are they left with? I mean, let me ask you this. If you're a parent and you want your kid to get a good education, and you are in a school that has a lot of these outbursts and students are frequently suspended, what would you want for your child in that school?
I would want a more conducive educational environment. I don't necessarily know how that turns, what that means as far as putting a parent in jail for the child that's acting out.
Yeah, I would just get rid of the kid. Yeah.
There are steps. I think we all know that there's steps.
It's about to go down.
As
Maybe
far as
maybe school's not for them. Maybe it's not. I mean, there's no reason that the other 29 kids in the class should not learn because school is not for this one kid.
Why are there 29 kids in the class in the first place? See, that's a part of the step that Torin and I were talking about. A 29, having been a teacher, a 30-kid classroom is almost astronomical for me to get any learning done. I don't care how much great classroom management I have. So when we start to have that conversation, then that still goes back into the point of what myself, Clarice, Torrance, Steph all said. Where's the root of the problem? Because why is it a 30-kid classroom in the first place? And why do we automatically want to throw this child? How is that? How does a 30-kid classroom have anything to do with a family?
This is why nothing changes. Right? This is why nothing changes.
What do you mean?
Tell me more.
Let's wrap the entire system around this one individual versus what's beneficial to the group.
That's not what I said.
That is what you said.
No, that's not. You're not gonna put words in my mouth. No, what I said is,
so,
why is there a 30-kid
here's the thing.
classroom?
There is no.
Can I give a solution for?
That's just me.
Hold on, wait. Let Freeman land real quick. Let him land.
Here's some angry big backs. So there is no program, right? Listen, I've been listening to this conversation for 30 years. There's not going to be a new point because less kids in the classroom has been tried. It's all been tried before. And there are things that actually work for Black kids, particularly school choice. And the crux to that is separation. Households that want, here it goes, to learn are separated from households that don't want to learn. That is why Success Academy can put poor Black kids in college like it's nothing. because they are separated. And that is an obvious, measurable, right, metricable outcome. You don't have to talk about what might or might not work. What works is out there. Why not just copy that?
All right, so this is what I want to say to that, my man, because what your lifestyle was and what worked for you might not actually work for that next person. The only thing that's coming to mind to me that God gave us all is free will. So with that being said, that's where that kind of comes in at now, as into what.
Hey, what is he talking about? Y'all know?
Well, she was saying, what you don't know is what you don't know. So if this person is not in that environment, I don't have that type of mindset. I don't have this type of fruition in their mental mind state to even think that kind of manner. So for you to be like, well, I want to be I want to be a mechanic, but this person doesn't even have this type of mindset. It's not going to even apply, even resonate with them. So to say even that things went for you in your life like that, you can't really push that on everybody. Now, yes, you can lay it out there and give people the choice to pick it up, but
Oh, jeez.
that don't mean it. But that doesn't mean it's going to work for them.
What are you talking
Can I
about?
ask you a question, Freeman?
I didn't talk about my life.
I know
What are you
what I
talking
mean.
about?
What I'm saying. You said something works. You was talking about there's things that work, right? And I agree. There are things that do work, but what I'm saying, that doesn't mean that's going to work for the next person up under you. The next person that's coming up, because it worked for you, it doesn't mean it's working for the next person.
What does that
I
even
think that
mean?
what it's saying
Like
is
school choice is established for whomever, right? There isn't a school choice is like saying the animal kingdom, right? It's not one particular thing, right? There are plenty of charter schools that vary. Some are absolute trash. Some are some are great. Some have great accountability. They have great outcomes, but that school is tailored to that community. It's not.
That's
I'm
not all
not.
charter schools.
that's false.
That is big
No,
false.
that's
Again,
false.
Oh my god.
as in the city where all of the schools are charter schools, and they're
Hey, you notice? Uh, um, so that's big false. False how? Right? There are dozens of different charter schools with dozens of different results, hundreds across the country. Right? Hundreds. Right? Some are trash, some are awesome. How is that false? Right? Can you be victorious in black culture when black culture doesn't want to succeed? Right? Doesn't want to succeed.
different charters. That's false. Those most of I can only speak for what I see in my community on a consistent basis. Most of those schools are not tailored to their community because those people are not of their community and they do not engage with said community. So that's not always true.
Nice.
Now, by and large, it can be true. It's a possibility. Anything can.
It can't, it's a possibility, but mostly they're just always the victim. Right? And just to give you new viewers, hold on, I'm gonna
Be a
show you Success
possibility though.
Academy.
That does not make it a fact all the time. And that's what Trey is saying. What Trey is saying is just because there's a possibility.
And look, I never said it was I made a specific example that some are trash and some are not. That's it. But even that is just a little too much success.
And just because there's an opportunity does not mean that that is always going to give you the outcome that you're looking for. It has not always been a child going to a charter school and they automatically go to college and then they become successful. I've seen several kids who have went to a charter school, one of the best charter schools, if I'm going to be honest, and they still ended up on the streets, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh my God, no. You mean every child didn't succeed? I don't think I said every child is going to succeed. And that's what this is consistent. Every time I have this conversation, somebody's going to jump in and say it doesn't work for everybody. It's like it is Negro Tourette's.
What he's saying is we have to understand that there are various ways of being able to attack this. What I personally was saying is that there are a lot of different things that go into why some of these things happen, and we have to address them all and not just one faction. We cannot just only treat the symptoms. We have to
See, you have to address them all, and so everybody can fail together.
treat the core reason, the core problem at the core. And some of that has to do with community. Some of that has to do with a 30 kid classroom. If half of your classroom has some type of learning disability, emotional disability, or something or another,
Or didn't eat breakfast that morning.
it is impossible for me as a teacher
Or didn't have breakfast that morning. Bro, that is what I'm saying, man. That is what I'm saying. Can Black culture be victorious? I don't think so, man. I don't think so.
teacher to be able to teach all of those kids. That's why I brought up the 30 kid
And
classroom,
so,
because
and
by and large, the black I'm a land right here. By and large, the Black community are usually larger classrooms. They most of their schools have larger classrooms, 30 to 35 kids per class. It doesn't matter the age at all.
so to Friedman, when you have communities that are underfunded, right? Food deserts, over policed, right? And then you saying that, well, the school is a reflection of the community.
Right? Negro Tourette's, right? It is the reflexive answer, right? When they are given solutions, you give them a solution, and what happens? You get Negro Tourette's.
When you have communities that are underfunded, right?
Communities that are underfunded, communities got to be funded. The people that live there don't quote unquote fund them, right? And they repeat this tick, right? Without ever showing you, oh, here's the underfunding or whatever. Hell, California, 75% of Black boys can't read. And school funding is part of the state charter. It's a certain percentage of the budget. So it's like literally impossible to quote unquote underfund. Still can't read.
Food deserts, over policed, right? And then you saying that, well, the school is a reflection of the community. Let's just get these kids out of here, right? It's just going to be more or you made the statement, well, they just don't want to learn. No, a lot of these kids have things going on in their life that they have to deal with outside of school, right? They have to worry about, are they going to eat? They have to worry about, the neighborhood. Is somebody going to kick the door in? Where, at home by themselves because their parents have to work 2 jobs to maintain a living, right? So the focus is not always on school, and they don't have the information. Like, to Trey's point, you only know what you know. And so for those kids to be in a situation and where you're telling young children, oh, they just don't want to learn, kick them out of the school, remove them, and only focus. And what you're saying is remove those kids from the school system or the school and focus on the kids that want to learn. I think that is crazy to say about young children, especially growing up in those those circumstances.
Who did I say that?
I
want to ask.
Come out. Who did I say that about? How young? What
I
age?
want to ask.
What age did I give?
You didn't give an age, but at the end of the day, they're still children. From 12th grade to kindergarten, they're still children.
Mm-hmm.
And so if that is the determination of they don't want to learn as a
quick.
child, when we're not focusing on the issue, we're not focusing on the community, because all you're gonna do is keep removing kids, and because you're not focusing on the circumstances that cause them to not be able to pay attention or cause them to have anger or fear, and so they're not focusing on school, and you just saying get your ass out of school.
Real quick, who's married and who has kids in these schools?
What do you mean by that? What do you mean who's married and who has kids in schools? What do you mean? That's a blanket statement. Please elaborate.
How many? Look, how many people understand what I just said? Right? Put a 1 in the chat if you understand what I just said on this live stream.
your ass out of school.
Real quick. Who's married and who has kids in these schools?
What do you mean by that? What do you mean who's married and who has kids in schools? What do you mean? That's a blanket statement. Please
I'm
elaborate.
asking. No. I'm asking that question. That's not a statement.
Underserved schools?
Can
No,
you
no.
be
Who
more
is
specific in your question? Are you talking about
who
a specific state? Are you talking
in
about
this
all over the country? Are you talking about where you live?
who
Please
in this
specify.
who in this conversation is married and has kids in public schools?
I have
Okay, so I
kids.
hold
I have
on,
kids,
Trey.
but I'm
Trey,
not married.
please. Trey, can you hear me?
Trigger Big Mama. Big Mama trigger.
Me, please. So if you've been listening to the conversation, sir, we've been
Right. The answer to that question is nobody. It's a bunch of single people babbling about fixing the community, right? And baby mamas. And who is this? Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. It's just, yeah. Yeah.
been talking from different professions that we have. So your question is irrelevant if you've been listening. So my question for you is,
You hear that? Family is irrelevant. Being married is irrelevant, right? Being a family is irrelevant, and having actually skin in the game is irrelevant. Why could that be? Why could that be? Oh, how could that be?
you made the statement about school choice. What state have you seen that work? Is it the state that you live in or the state that you're from?
DC, New York,
Okay.
Maryland,
Do
San
you
Diego.
currently live in one of those states?
See, now here's the effort to delegitimize what I said when charter schools all over the country are kicking ass, right? I could have said Austin. I could have said Wisconsin. I could have said Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I could have said Racine. I could have said Oakland, California, right? Because their KIPP Academy is nationwide, right? Success Academy is all over the country, right? And exactly. She dodged the question, right? Because once you start making the conversation about family, that's when it all goes south, because there are no families. That's why they use that dog whistle of the word community, because they can't say families, right? This is the community. That's your community, and a bunch of single dudes, baby mamas, baby daddies, and single dudes pontificate on this the most, which is crazy to me. So, got another. Here, I'll let you listen. No, I live in Florida. Actually, Florida has a real nice scholarship program that I'm taking advantage of.
Okay. So in terms of the charter schools, now outside of New Orleans is very special, like the only place that has all charter schools. That is very.
Anyway, no, it's not. There's, for all the grief you give the liberals,
and then the worst part, y'all expect every black person to fall.
What city is that? Austin. Yeah, Austin said unlimited charter schools, basically, right? And that's what happened, man. It went nuts. They have a bunch of charter schools in. Actually, maybe I'll show that. Let's show that again. Grade schools. And here's what I mean about tailoring to the community, right? And they'll be like, "That's not true." So filters, charter, public, see results. Okay, so we'll go to the last page, so we'll see the lowest ranked schools. And we'll see the lowest ranked schools in the area. Yikes. Okay, so you see where the ones are, right? Ones. Those are ones. And these are public schools, right? And it's all middle school, elementary school, middle school, elementary school, right? Terrible. So let's duplicate this, go to filters, public charter, see results. Now, this is the best charter schools. Where are the best charter schools at? Oh, same area. How does that work? Wow, it's weird. It's almost like they were meant to be there. Like the people that needed to be served are the ones that got served. That's weird. That's super odd. Super odd. How? Gosh. So, and they make up the same excuses, right? It's like, oh, well, they're not in the community. The charter school is too far away, and like buses don't exist, right? Like school busing hasn't been a thing for 50 freaking years. You know, it's more and more excuses. Worst area for schools, best charter schools. And look, here's a 1 charter school because it's terrible. Austin Cat Academy, 1 out of 10, right? Because they're not all great. Here's a 3. But your 7, your 6, and your 5 also in the same area, right? Because that's kind of how it works. Because the people that actually want to open charter schools, right, want to open it around those people. Right, and here is Success Academy. Where's this lady? Here we go.
They're mostly from low-income families. They attend a city charter chain, yet they succeed.
Outperforming their peers by a landslide.
On math tests, Success Academy kids outperform every school in New York State. Other charters are in blue on this graph, government-run schools in gray. Success kids also outperform other kids in English.
That is redefining American public education.
LeMay DeYoung is Success Academy's chief schooling officer.
See, but why can't they accept this? Right? So when I ask, like, can Black culture be victorious? This is what I'm talking about. Why can't they accept this? This is known, right? This is known. But that whole group has to be mired in failure and oppression.
Our Black and Hispanic students outperformed their peers by double, triple % in their math.
By peers, you include the rich kids in the suburbs?
Yes.
But school is...
Boom. But what about 30 kids in the class? Wait, how many kids are in this class? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 21 on camera. Oh, I don't know. Class size argument. At least 21 in camera. I'm sure there are a few over here. I don't know if the class size argument's going to work.
It's boring.
No, it's not.
When I first checked out this charter, I was amazed that these kids enjoyed school, saying subjects.
Wait, it's almost like you separated the kids that didn't want to learn from the kids that do want to learn, based on the households that want to learn. That's weird.
Like reading were
Rockin' awesome.
See, and here's the thing. The South Memphis just doesn't want to be left behind. If that's your identity, you don't want to be left behind. Because if you succeed, what do I look like?
So you guys look forward to going to school in the morning?
Yes.
It's why lots of parents want to get their kids into Success Academy. I watch them line up, hoping to get their kids in.
This line goes on and on forever.
And that is how you separate. That is how you separate. The families that want to learn are the families in line. The families that don't want to learn are at home, right? That's the mom that's going to say, why didn't you tell me, when her 12th grader gets sent back to the 9th grade? She's not in line.
Goes around the block. What do you do when you have thousands of people and just a few hundred slots? They hold a lottery.
The winners are happy. Sadly, there are many more losers.
That means my name gonna come next time.
Yeah, next year.
Oh, and speaking of the lottery, let me tell you this. So, and here's the other thing. Can it be victorious? The culture, the collective, can it be victorious? I don't think so, because no collective is totally victorious anyway. But who's that guy? Adrian Fenty. Ah, there it is. So this guy had the temerity to actually try to fix the school system in DC. This here, the lottery in 2010, right? That's this man trying to clean up the schools in DC. You know what they did? They got him up out of there. They got him up out of there. He hired Michelle Rhee to fix the schools, and here comes Big Mama getting fired. All right. And when Michelle Rhee started firing Big Mama, it was time to get Adrian Fenty up out of there. Right? The city that elected Marion Barry twice, right? After the whole crack thing, couldn't stand this guy but once. So, yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. Can it be victorious? I don't know. You know, I don't know. Because they got him up out of there. And then try to say, oh, you know, he had a scandal. Really? Did he smoke crack? Because he was fixing the schools. You know? If he wasn't caught in a hotel smoking crack and he was fixing the schools, I mean, was it a scandal? You understand? So, anyway, that's all I got. That is all I've got. Oh, one more. Let me. Yep, Tiger Mom for the win. You ain't kidding.
What about DEI now? For the certain people who have been suppressed and forgotten.
Oh, suppressed and forgotten. That oppression tick yet again by Father of the Year.
We need our jobs. We need equal rights. What's your stance on that?
I don't care about DE&I. You want to kill it, kill it. It's already been weaponized. It's been made political. It's dead. DE&I as a program is effectively dead. I don't care about DE&I. I love diversity. We're having the wrong argument. In fact, we're arguing. There's no need to argue. There's not enough college-educated, successful white men to drive GDP, gross domestic product, for the next 20 years. In 1950, America was 90% white, not 1850, Ken. 1950. Today, America's 40% black and brown. Within 10 years, there'll be a majority of minorities. 70% of the U.S. economy, $29 trillion, is consumer spending. That's you and me. Going to restaurants, going to lunch, playing video games. That's consumer spending. That's us. So for the first time in history, this country cannot succeed without all of us. So unless my white friends want to be speaking Mandarin in 20 years, meaning Chinese, we better figure out in the next 5 or 10 years that we're better together.
What about DEI now? For the certain people who have been suppressed and forgotten.
And there it is. And there it is. If you've got a cohort just sitting back and whining about their circumstances instead of producing, they are going to get left behind. They're going to get left behind. I.e., this is going to be forgotten. Right? And productive people in Cordova, Tennessee, East Tennessee, they're going to make it. South Memphis ain't going to make it. So, that's it. That's all I got. Thanks for coming by. I appreciate it. And that's it. Thank you for your time. Have a great day. And I'm out.